edge reclaimed. Kawhi led the way with a game-high 29 points, and the Clippers seem to have cracked Dallas's code after they held the Mavs to a season low in points. Luka, who's dealing with a nerve issue in his neck, said he was terrible in the loss, finishing with 19 points and going 1 of 7 from 3 and missing all 5 of his free throw attempts. It's not good. Chris, how much was Luka to blame for the Game 3 and 4 losses?
Well, Game 3, none. I mean, 44 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds. He jumps on the Clippers early like he's ready to end the series because obviously if they win 3-0, this thing is over. And he has 11 points early in like the first 6 minutes. Rick Carlisle takes him out. They're up 28-11. In 3 minutes that Luka's on the bench, the Clippers go on a 14-4 run. They pull within 7, and it's a game the rest of the way. And then in the fourth quarter, Luka's got 10 points, 2 assists. He scored more points than the rest of the Dallas starters put together. His wingmen, Kristaps Porzingis and Tim Hardaway Jr. go 0 for 5 in the fourth quarter. So now, granted, he was 2 for 6 from the free throw line. And Skip, I'll give you this. He's a horrific free throw shooter. Like, all of a sudden, I mean, he used to be just mediocre at, what, 70%?
Yeah, it was 70%.
He's become terrible in these playoffs. He makes LeBron look like Steph Curry at the foul line. All right, so I'll give you that. But Game 3, I can't criticize him for that. Game 4 obviously didn't play well. We know he's got the neck injury. To his credit, he didn't blame it. So I'm not going to use it as an excuse. You got to play. If you're playing, you're playing. He has 19 and 6, whatever it was, 9 for 24 from the field. So he struggled. But here's the thing. They're not supposed to beat the Clippers. I have a hard time being critical of Luka in this series. They're 2-2 with the team that many people think has the best roster in basketball. You look at the roster, his wingman is Kristaps Porzingis. He doesn't have Paul George as his wingman like Kawhi Leonard does. He doesn't have a playoff Rondo. He does not have they're not supposed to beat the Clippers. So the fact that he's got them tied and a chance to win at 22 years old, it's hard for me to kill him. At 22, Larry Bird was struggling in the NCAA title game against Magic Johnson and Michigan State. At 22, Michael Jordan was leading the Bulls to a 40-42 record and the 8th seed in the East. At 22, Magic was winning titles, but because he had Kareem. He went to the team with the MVP. And only LeBron has done more because he took out that Detroit Pistons team at 22 years old in the Eastern Conference Finals and played San Antonio in the finals. But other than that, I mean, who's done more than this kid at 22 years old? So I get it. His free throw shooting's pathetic. He was bad yesterday. And, you know, they're in a series now. But I can't heap too much blame on him because they wouldn't even be close. This series would be over if it wasn't for the heroics that he's already put on in games 1, 2, and 3.
I agree with you. I mean, the first 3 games, the only thing Luka could do in Game 3 is shoot free throws better. And I don't know how a guy has the same. He's 7 of 13 from the three-point line Friday night. He's 7 of 13 from the free throw line on Friday night. I've never seen anything like it. I tweeted out he should maybe shoot his free throws from the three-point line and maybe have a higher percentage, Chris, because I've never seen anything like it. And I agree with you. You go 44-9-9. And you got 2 other guys. All he needed was one other guy. Skip, you remember Game 1 and 2, Hardaway Jr. came along with him. Finney-Smith, especially in Game 1, came along. Porzingis hit some big shots.
Kleba came along.
All he needed was one other guy in Game 3 to come along with him for a great ride, and they could have won this game because he would have had enough to offset what Kawhi and Paul George was doing. But what he didn't have that, and so they overshadowed. They got, 64, 65 to his 44. But Hardaway last night, 1 for 8, 4 points. Finney-Smith, 8 points. Like I said, I think they made a trade. The Clippers traded for Finney-Smith between Game 2 and 3 because he's been terrible since. The difference in this series is simple as this, and Ty Lue hit it. The shots that we're missing, we normally make. The shots that they're making, Skip, they normally miss. Well, they reverted back. They became who they were the entire season from the three-point line, and they got blown out. And so in order for them to win this series, Luka has to be otherworldly, and they got to knock down 50, 60% of their threes. If not, they're going to lose because the Clippers clearly have the better team.
It is now my turn. I'm going to say this one more time on this show. It is utter blasphemy from my partner, Shannon Sharp, to call Luka Doncic Baby Bird.
Oh, Baby Bird, yeah.
We are all going to get struck by lightning if you continue to do this, because it looked like Luka got struck by lightning at the free throw line.
Yeah, he bad.
You were disqualified just at the free throw line. He is now 13 of 32 over the 4 games at the free throw line. That's 40.6%. It's so bad that he's clanking bad.
Yeah.
It's not even coming close anymore.
Yeah, they're not spitting. Now they're hitting the back iron, Chris.
Larry Bird shot 89% for his career in the regular season and for his career in the playoffs. And 4 times, Larry Bird led the NBA in regular season free throw shooting. 4 times. This is beyond pathetic. Now, let me get to the other reason that Luka should be blamed. He's only 22, and you're giving him a pass because he's 22. Well, somebody should pull him aside and sit him down and say, wipe the smile off your face. When you're front running, when you're showboating and you got it going from 3, which is unusual because you're a 33% career free three-point shooter. When that's happening and the ball's going down, quit giggling, quit chuckling, quit tee-heeing at the Clippers. Quit screaming out, not at my house. He's too small. He can't guard me. It's just outrageous. And finally, the Clippers do have some toughness. It was lost in games 1 and 2. But we're talking about a Marcus Morris and a Kawhi Leonard and even a Paul George. They've been around the block a couple of times in this league. They know how it is done in the end. And they reached down in game 3 and finally said, we are sick and tired of all your gloating and all of your trash talking, and watch this. And they started to get up into Luka. It took 8 of them. They tried 8 different players on Luka in one game on Friday night. And again, he wound up with 44 points, but they started to beat him down and wear him down until finally, all of a sudden, when it was clear, and he's got high IQ, he knew all of a sudden the game had slipped away. And what does he go slip on the bench? Some sort of a heating sleeve to say, oh, I got a neck injury. Baloney, stop it. I don't want to hear about it. It came right on time just as the series was starting to slip away. I am not buying it. And Chris, I told Shannon earlier, in the history of the NBA, no team has ever made 23s in a home playoff game and lost that game. And that's what the Clippers pulled off on Friday night, down 30-11 with 4:28 left in the first quarter. From that moment until this moment, they have outscored in Dallas the Mavericks before crazed sellout post-pandemic crowds. They have outscored them by 54 points. Maybe they finally just got mad and they started locking down on defense because Dallas has not been able to score over the last 7 quarters.
Well, you said it, Skip. We're at home. We make 23s, and we still
have to win.
Where do we go now, Chris? We can't shoot any better. We shoot 51% from the three-point line.
And remember, they finished 18th in three-point shooting.
You make 23s, normally, more times than not, you're going to win that ball game. But when you allow Kawhi Leonard to miss 3 shots, you allow Paul George to miss 4 shots, and they get almost 70 points between the two, well, you're probably going to lose. Because that's what happened. Kawhi at one point was 10 of 10 or 11 of 11. Paul George was 10 of 10. They couldn't miss.
And by the way, a lot of them were point blank because they're just putting their heads down and saying, you can't keep us from the rim.
Chris, I told Skip earlier, I understand that Rick Carlisle has a substitution pattern. And normally at about 7 minutes to go in the first quarter, he would sub Luka out. But I believe he should have went for the death blow. I believe, Luka, we're going to run it till the first quarter's over. We're going to try to make this 19-point lead, get it a 30-point lead, and I'll give you an extra couple of minutes in the second quarter. But let's see if we can push this thing out past 30. And if we can do that, I like our chances. Because once they weathered the storm, they're like, hold on, wait a minute. We only down 4 points. Oh, we're right back in this thing now. It was a whole different ball game.
Yeah, I agree, Shannon. And what we're seeing, look, early in the series, they couldn't guard Luka and the Mavericks. Now the Mavericks can't guard them. Kawhi's been spectacular offensively. Skip, one thing I'll say, I do